What's up, YouTube? Two Moves here. Now, here is my throwback segment where I talk about the films that turns 10, 20, and 30 this week. Alright, the films celebrating their 10th anniversary. Oh boy, we got the god awful Hercules film, The Legend of Hercules. Now, you see, back in 2014, there was like not one but two Hercules movies that got released that year. One of which was one that had Dwayne Johnson in it, which I'll start talking about in July. Then the other one was with Kellen Lutz, who you might remember from Twilight fame. Um, Now, this was also directed by Rennie Holland, who's also directing the upcoming relaunch of The Strangers. And it's pretty much the origin story of the mythical Greek hero betrayed by his stepfather, the king in exile, sold into like slavery before like his forbidden love, and Hercules uses like his formidable powers to fight his way back to the righteous kingdom. Uh, yeah, Legend of Hercules one was a complete flop. Let me see the box office. Legend of Hercules box office. It made about 61.3 million at the time. This also had the likes of Scott Atkins. You had Guy Wise. I mean, you had some really cool cast members in this, but their talent was wasted. I remember seeing this one in theaters. I was kind of interested in it. I mean, you got Randy Holland, who I've always liked. He also did like Cliffhanger, Deep Blue Sea. Really talented filmmaker. Could be a hit and miss sometimes, but my God, this was a dumpster fire. It was completely boring. Didn't make much sense. Kellen Lutz. I mean, this was actually supposed to be his like pre-Twilight moment. Because of course stars like Robert Pattinson had their moment outside Twilight. Kristen Stewart, Taylor Lautner was a little struggling there. Ed Kendrick's been doing good, but this was supposed to be like Kellen Lutz's major big break outside Twilight, and lately he does not really do anything anymore nowadays. But that's what it is, I guess. All right. Now, other films turning 10. Now, this technically got released like limited back in like December 2014, but they got wide, so I'm going to count them for their January release. And that one of which was Lone Survivor. Now, this was one of the few films that Peter Berg and Mark Wahlberg did together. If you guys don't know much about the story, this is based on a true story, and it's based on a nonfiction book of the same name by Marcus Luttrell and Patrick Robertson, set during the war in Afghanistan. It dramatizes these unsuccessful United States Navy SEALs counterinsurgent mission operation Red Wings, during which a four-man SEAL reconnaissance and surveillance team was given the task of tracking down a Taliban leader, Hamad Shah. Now, this also had the likes of Taylor Kitsch, Emil Hirsch, Eric Bana, Ben Foster, and this was, of course, like the first time that Mark Wahlberg and Peter Berg worked together. Of course, they were going to work together in other cool stuff like Deepwater Horizon, Patriots Day. They also did that Netflix movie Spencer Confidential, which was pretty decent. Then they also did Miles 22 a couple years ago too, which was awful there. So this was actually a really decent flick. I mean, it was really intense here. Mark Wahlberg, I thought, was really cool in this. Very decent flick. All right. Also turning 10 is the Jason Reitman film Labor Day. Now, this of course stars the likes of Josh Brolin, Kate Winslet, Tobey Maguire, J.K. Simmons, James Van Der Beek, Clark Gregg, and it's where this young kid named Henry Wheeler, played by Caitlin Griffin, who grapples with the pains of adolescence while caring for his mother, his mother Adele, played by Kate Winslet. One day, while shopping for school supplies, Henry and Adele encounter Frank Chambers, played by Josh Brolin, an imitating man, who of course was actually on the run from the feds here. And this is actually a really decent flick. Of course, this is directed by Jason Reitman, who's put out stuff like Up in the Air. He recently gave us Ghostbusters Afterlife, which was pretty good. He also did stuff like Juno, which was great too. Not a bad little flick here. Very underrated. Definitely one of like the Jason Reitman films that barely gets talked about. Chemistry, like of course, there's like a peach scene that like a peach pie scene that features the likes of Kate Winslet and Josh Brolin. They were really solid in this together. So very decent little flick if you guys ever seen it. Now, films celebrating their 20th anniversary. We got the comedy classic My Baby's Daddy. Now, it's about a trio of young men who are forced to grow up quick when their girlfriends all become pregnant around the same time. It is led by famed comedian Eddie Griffin, along with Anthony Anderson. Which, by the way, I'm really digging his music competition show, We Are Family. Really good competition show if you guys haven't seen it. And you also have Michael Imperioli, who you might remember as Chris from The Sopranos fame. You also had other folks in this like Amy Sedaris, Bobby J. Thompson, John Amos, Tommy Tiny Lister. You also had Paul J. Parker. Method Man was also in this, who plays the character of No Good and Men. Method Man steals lots of scenes. Maybe one of the funniest moments with him is when he ends up like robbing the convenience store because he's trying to get the supplies for Anthony Harris's character for his like baby and all. This is a really fun flick. Like it did not really get the love it deserved though. Let me see. My Baby's Daddy, Rotten Tomatoes. What does Rotten Tomatoes rate? I think it has like a 4% or something like that. It only has like 6%. I don't care what the critic says. This movie is hilarious. You know, the chemistry between the likes of Eddie Griffin, Anthony Anderson, and Michael Imperioli is a lot of fun to watch. I mean, you always see movies about like mothers trying coping, taking care of their kids and stuff like that. But this was very rare to see a movie with fathers trying to do that. And I thought like the three leads here still lots of scenes. They really play off each other well. I mean, if you guys have never really seen My Baby's Daddy, do yourself a favor, go watch it. I mean, it's not a great comedy. You know, it's not one of the best comedies of 2004. I mean, 2004 had some good comedies in it. You know, Anchorman, uh, Napoleon Dynamite. It's not as good as those, but it definitely had a lot of fun laughs to it. So I highly recommend My Baby's Daddy if you guys haven't seen this one. And man, Eddie Griffin does not do anything anymore. Like he still does stand up, but I haven't really seen him in much films anymore. Like he was in that movie The New Guy, which was also funny too. I've always liked Eddie Griffin whenever he does stuff. All right. Also turning 20 is Chasing Liberty, which stars Mandy Moore and Matthew Good, who of course right now is best known for doing stuff like Watchmen and all. Here's what the film's about. It is about this 18-year-old daughter of the president of the U.S. Who's rebelling against the crescending presence of Secret Service agents in her life leads to an European adventure with an unexpected romance. Now this does also have the likes of Mark Harmon, Jeremy Piven, and it's I mean of course this was like the film that really put Mandy Moore on the map. Of course I actually think it's Walk to Remember that really put her on the map, but this was of course one of her earliest roles. Like at the time she did stuff like Walk to Remember. She's done some other stuff in the early 2002. She had a really cool music career. Obviously now Mandy Moore is best known for This Is Us fame. It's not really all that great of a film in my opinion. I mean, Mandy Moore is great, but it's never really a film that really stuck to me. But it does have its fans. I mean, Mandy Moore and Matthew Good were both pretty good, but no pun intended. But yeah, I just was never a fan. I actually prefer Walk to Remember over this in my opinion, but some people actually do enjoy Chasing Liberty. Now, also turning 20, we got the Elaine Warner's documentary, Elaine Life and Death of a Serial Killer. Now, of course, this was a documentary about Elaine Warner, who, of course, be played by Charlize Theron in an award-winning performance in Monster. And this is about the famed serial killer, who, of course, go on to like pretty much kill lots of men back in the days, and of course, she ends up becoming she also ends up dying by um, by the death penalty, and not really bad documentary. Like I really do prefer like the movie with Charlize Theron, but this one really does go into depth on more of the story of it and what happened. And I mean, really decent documentary. I won't be surprised if Netflix or someone brings like Lee Warnos back to the Prophets. Like Netflix is really like very popular with doing stuff about serial killers, whether it's like Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy. Of course, they got doing the Menendez brothers. I won't be surprised if they do something like if we get a new take on Lee Warnos down the line. But who knows? No one could play her better than Charlize Theron, obviously. But anyway. Now, films turning dirty. Nothing to really go by. Like, there is the movie Cabin Boy about a spoiled rich kid who has plans for a Hawaiian cruise, but when they backfire, he winds up lost at sea and taken advantage by a gang of salty old sailors who are only too willing to give up like Snoopy guy his compromise. Now you also had the likes of Chris Elliott, James Gammon, Brian Doyle Murray, Ricky Lake was in this, Andy Ricker. I mean, this is not really that great of a film. I mean, I've always liked Chris Elliott, Groundhog Day, Schitt's Creek. My favorite Chris Elliott role is an odd one, but it's when he played Hanson in Scary Movie 2. But yeah, this one never really stuck with me. I just never found this to be funny. Like, I don't even remember much about it, but I remember watching this one. Definitely one of the few comedies I was never into. So, anyway. Now, films turning dirty, we got the Era Up There, which is a sports comic directed by Paul Michael Glazer, who you might remember as Skarsky from Skarsky and Hutch, which, by the way, R.I.P. to the actor who played Hutch from the original TV series. But of course, he was also like a very famous film director here too. Now it's about assistant coach and one-time college star whose headstrong personal style has threatened his rise to head coach. Spots a teenage basketball sensation on a videotape sent back from one of the college's religious mission in Africa, hoping to advance his own career in the process. He quickly sets out to recruit the 6'10" player for his lackluster team. Now, this does star Kevin Bacon, who plays a coach. Charles Manda plays a kid here. Um, Not a bad little sports film. I mean, it's not like one of the best sports films like that, but it is a really decent underdog story. Kevin Bacon's pretty good in his part. His chemistry with the kid I thought was really decent. So yeah, if you guys never seen this, I'd say give it a go. Alright, Turning 30 is a terrible sci-fi film simply titled American Cyborg Steel Warrior. Now, this is of course directed by Boyle Davidson and star John Ryan, who plays an android assassin in the feature To Kill Mary, a woman who was able to give life to a fetus played by Nicole Henson. Joe Laura played Austin, a mercenary who is actually a cyborg but vowed to protect Mary. This is pretty much a term. This was pretty much a Terminator ripoff all the way. Like, if you even since you definitely tell this was, of course, obviously Terminator was very popular at the time. One of the most iconic films from the '80s, and of course, got released like a year, like no, 3 years after Terminator 2. So they were trying to find their own Terminator film, and this one definitely wasn't it. So yeah, I mean, not the best films of January of 94, I guess. I mean, 94 was a great year, but it slowed down a little bit. Anyway, we want to leave you guys. Which film stand out to you the most? To me, the 10-year one is going to be. I'm probably going to go with Lone Survivor. That's definitely the best one on the list. The 20-year one, obviously, is My Baby's Daddy. And the 30-year one, I guess, up there, on the air up there. That is a better. Like, it's not a great film, but that is the better one on the 30-year one. Anyway, drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Tim Retario.